when you don't have a comeback, and when you're not the smartest person in the room, and when you can't humble yourself enough to reflect the character of Christ, then you die. That's
Yep.
it. You die spiritually, you die mentally, and you die physically, and in your heart you die. You are empty, and that's a horrible place to be, you know?
Yep.
So
Look,
yeah.
I'm gonna go to another one. Like I said, I'm gonna just keep giving you guys verses from the Old Testament.
Look us. No,
From
I
the
mean
Old
it. I mean it. Yeah.
this is Old Testament. This is before Jesus. I'm gonna take it all the way back to Genesis.
Take it back, baby. Take it back.
All the way back to Genesis, right? And you tell me, what is this?
Sounds like
Yep.
I'm thinking the
I'm
only
just giving you evidence. I'm just giving you evidence on how I know and how I came to the conclusion that Jesus is God, Jesus resurrected, Jesus was crucified. He was there from the beginning, right?
Mhm.
I'm wrapping it all up. I told you, I gave you the evidence in the Old Testament, 700 years before he was born, 1,000 years before he was born, him giving you the evidence that he was coming for the crucifixion and his resurrection. Now I'm going to give you the evidence from the Old Testament, not the New Testament, the Old Testament, that he has been here from the beginning, not just when he was in flesh. I'm going to show you. This is in Genesis. Let's read it together.
Let me
Right?
read.
Go ahead.
Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image and our
Oh,
likeness."
hold up. Stop right there. What he say?
Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image and our likeness."
Oh, right there, right there, right there. He said, then God said, let us make mankind in our, not
Mhm.
my. It says, let us make mankind in our image, our likeness. Who is God talking to?
It's not him alone.
It's not him alone. So who is he talking to?
The Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ.
Exactly. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He told you from the beginning that he was here. This is Genesis. Everybody knows Genesis.
Mhm.
Everybody knows Genesis.
Beginning.
But I bet you didn't really pay attention to this line where it says, then God said, let us make mankind in our image. This is plural. This is not singular. This is plural. In our image and in our
Like,
likeness. The reason that this is important is because you have to understand the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Father is the mind and the planner. The Son is the flesh and the redeemer. Are we flesh?
yes, we are.
And do we have minds?
Yes, we do.
And the Holy Spirit is the one that applies and teaches and gives you the conviction. Do we feel conviction when we do something wrong?
Absolutely.
So what God gave us three parts of himself and put it onto us, which is why he's saying, let us make mankind in our image, because he made us flesh like Jesus. He gave us a mind to think like himself and a conviction in the Holy Spirit. He's telling you from the beginning,
Mhm.
1,500 plus years before Jesus even came to the earth, that he's always been, which is
Mhm.
why Jesus tells you in Revelations, I am the first and I am the last. I am the Alpha and the Omega. This is titles of a divine. This is titles of the divine. This is a title of the Almighty. So you think Jesus is saying the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, for no reason? He's not. He's saying this because he told you from the beginning that he is I am.
Mhm.
The only reason you can't comprehend this is because you're looking at Jesus as flesh only. But you have to understand this. I explained this actually to a family member, and I want to explain this so it can make sense in reality, right? If I'm a video game creator, right? Let's say I'm a video game creator, and I want
Fortnite,
to, huh?
like Fortnite.
Yeah, yeah. Example, let's say Fortnite, right? let's say I created the game Fortnite, right? And I'm like, ooh, Fortnite, it's having some problems, or it looks fun,
A
whatever the
bug.
case. Yeah, yeah, a bug, anything, right? And I say, I can fix the issue inside of Fortnite, and I'm the creator. Can I do I have the power and the ability to create myself a character inside of Fortnite?
Absolutely.
I do. Why? Because I created Fortnite in the first place, right? So if I want to create a character inside of Fortnite, I can create a character inside of Fortnite and live amongst all the characters that's already inside of Fortnite. So if I'm God and I created humans, don't you think I have the power to be among humanity if I want to?
Right.
So what makes you think that God isn't powerful enough to be a part of his own creation? This is backwards thinking for you, for people to think that Jesus is not God. But because what you're saying is God does not have the power to become human, which
Well,
logically makes zero sense.
what was the purpose of him creating humans?
The purpose of him of creating humans was because he wanted something to love and for something to love him back.
So, what would be the easiest way for something to love him back? If we're
Correction.
already sinful, we're already wicked, we're already rebellious, right?
Mhm.
What's another way to bond with someone for them to love you back?
Join them,
Hmm.
let them see you in the flesh because I'm an
Wait,
invisible God. So I
but why
become
didn't I just
divisible
but why didn't I just join them as a bird or as a donkey? He spoke through a
because a
donkey.
bird because a bird and a donkey don't have souls like human beings. A bird and a donkey doesn't have consciousness like a human.
Mm,
Humans are the superior because he made it that way. So why would I join you as a bird? You're not going to understand me that way because I'm not going to have the conscience. So I'm going to join you in your own likeness so that way you can have a relationship with me,
correction though, in whose likeness?
God's likeness.
There you go. I think sometimes we're arrogant. Like Jesus was one of us. No, we are him.
Exactly. We're one of
He
him.
came to show you the image of yourself. I am
Exactly.
coming. It's almost like why would Jesus become a man? He was just a man. He came and he was amongst other men. Well, he existed before we did, right?
Exactly.
We are in his image. It's like when people be like it would be silly for somebody to be like, oh my gosh, you look just like Journey. Well, no, Journey looks
Journey
just
looks
like
like me.
me. I'm her
Exactly.
brother. So it makes I don't even understand it. Like I don't understand. And then you came first, right? I can't that, and of course I'm nowhere near comparing myself to Christ, but I'm just saying like as a mother, I have more capabilities, more understandings. I'm an adult. I have wisdom, I have maturity, I have all of these things over my child. She looks like me. She behaves like me. She mimics me, but she falls short in so many ways because she's a child.
Exactly.
So how did you how did a man come and express all these divinities and these miracles and stuff because he is God? He's
Exactly.
your father and you are in his image. So I
Exactly.
think it's backwards sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're failing to look at his divine side, right?
Mhm.
I challenge anyone who says he's not divine to go find me any evidence, any proof that he sinned. And the reason why I'm saying sinned is because this is very important because we understand that from the beginning, sin was the cause of the fall and the cause of death upon humanity, right? So Jesus never sinned. So if Jesus never sinned, doesn't it logically make sense that death doesn't apply to him?
Mhm.
If Adam and Eve were told not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or they will surely die, and they did it, and they bring sin into the world, that means everyone born is born into sin, right? But you have Jesus, born of a virgin, not born through sin, but born of divine, right? Sin doesn't apply to him. Death doesn't apply to him. Therefore, it clearly makes logical sense that the rules that applies to us doesn't apply to him.
Yeah, and I have to come and I have to basically conquer this life because nobody else is going to be
Exactly.
able to live up to the expectations of our Father. there's going to have to be an example that it was possible, that it is possible, and someone has to defy that, right? Because otherwise, we all die and go to damnation because we
Exactly.
are not worthy of being in the presence of the Lord. So therefore, Jesus comes to give us that opportunity, and yet we scoff at that opportunity, which is mind blowing to me. But hey,
Well, it's because they don't believe it, you know? This is the whole reason why we're making this video. They don't
I know,
believe
but I'm
resurrection.
saying like it's not even just about like Christ being God, right?
Yeah.
And of course, we understand that he is, but in the essence that a man, a regular man, goes and gives their life for you, and they're able, like, let's just say Jesus existed as a man and he did all of these things, and you didn't see miracles or divinity, which we know we did, but you didn't see these things, but a man lived a life that was. Oh, let's not even take it to Jesus because I'm not even trying to confuse nobody. Let's take it to John the Baptist. I love to talk about John the Baptist. He's a regular man, right? And he preached the gospel in the wilderness and people called him crazy, but everybody's heart was just broken when he was when he was martyred, when he was beheaded. And why was that? Why did people mourn him like they did? It was because he did that to share the gospel to other people. He didn't hurt nobody. He didn't do nothing wrong, right? And we would have empathy for that person who just was a good person, right? Or a person who was innocent. But a person who comes and tells you, I love you so much that I would lay down my life for you, that I would give my life in exchange for you to have the opportunity of salvation. I think that we just don't know how lucky we are to be living at the time that we are, you know?
Exactly. And another point that I want to make about Jesus' resurrection is, do you understand that even his own disciples did not know he was going to resurrect?
Right.
So when you're talking about that he didn't resurrect, they're not making claims on something that they had pre-written, right? Something that they planned. His own disciples that were with him when he was crucified, they started doubting, like, oh no, if he died, that means he couldn't have been the Messiah, right? Even his own disciples started questioning his divinity because of his death on the crucifixion, his death on the cross, right? So
Mhm.
this is psychologically impossible for them to make this up because his disciples did not expect a resurrection. You know, the Jews in this era, you know, they expected general resurrection at the end times only, right? At this time, the Jews only believed in resurrection at the end times only. So no one could resurrect unless it was at the end times. So when
Right.
Jesus resurrected, even his own disciples were shocked because they did not believe in resurrection until it was completely the end times. So when they said that they saw this, they were going against their own religion. You have to understand this. So
Mhm.
when Peter saw this, when Thomas saw this, when John and James, all his disciples saw this, they were ethnic Jews. They were going against their belief of resurrection because they believed resurrection was only allowed at the end times when God made the new earth. So when Jesus resurrected, they went against their own beliefs of resurrection because they saw what they saw for real. This was true. They went against their religion because they saw this. So this is not a group of delusional people. This is a group of brave people claiming something in a town that claiming this will get them crucified. And a lot of them did. A lot of them were martyred.
Yeah. A lot
So
of
it's just mind-boggling to me about all these different things. You have Jesus' tomb was empty. You have Jesus appeared to several individuals and groups. You have Jesus transform people's fear into boldness. You know, you have all these different implications of Jesus' resurrection, yet you still are denying it. Honestly, the truth is for no reason, because most people don't have any evidence on why they don't believe it, other than they just say it's just not physically possible. That's the only reason you can say this. Yet,
yeah, in comparison to yourself.
exactly, yet you find everyone else. I don't care if it's the Pope. I don't care if it's Muhammad. I don't care who it is. Every single religious leader who ever existed, every single prophet who has ever existed, they're all still in their tombs, they're all still in their graves. The only one that's not in their grave is the one who they said they saw alive again. Thomas is a perfect example. When Jesus was crucified, Thomas, as you know, aka Doubting Thomas, right?
Mm-hmm.
He started doubting so bad. He was already mad at Jesus before Jesus actually even was crucified. So he had the perfect reason to doubt because he was already mad at Jesus for not saving his fiance from dying, right? So when Jesus was crucified, Thomas was already like, I knew he wasn't the Messiah, right? But when he saw Jesus resurrected and Jesus told him, take your hands and put them upon my side, what did doubting Thomas do? He dropped to his knees and said, my Lord and my God. You don't just say that for no reason. You don't go to another grown man. I have never in my life heard of or seen another grown man go to another grown man, drop to his knees and say, my Lord and my God. Nobody. Nobody. So this is more evidence that this is true. You have so many examples for yourself. It's just I truly feel like I truly believe, not even feel like I know that the reason I would say 90% of people doubt or don't believe that Jesus really resurrected is because honestly they've never researched it.
Yeah, they're ignorance.
Yeah, they're never researched it. That's the only way because it's in the prophecy, it's in the Old Testament, all the way up to the New Testament, all the way up to eyewitnesses, all the way up to scholars, all the way up to lawyers who even searched the crucifixion, all the way up. Anybody you want to find has done research on it, and we're in 2025 and they still can't debunk it. So there's only one explanation. If you are 2025 years later and it hasn't been debunked, there's only one explanation for 2000 years of as much technology as we have. AI exists, and you still can't debunk something that happened 2000 years ago. Only one explanation is it really happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only explanation.
I want to open this last 5 minutes up for questions. We never really do that. We kind of just like let people kind of fire off. I mean, we kind of just fire off the
Fire off. Yeah, yeah.
at the end. But yeah, any questions y'all have, any input, I wanted to go ahead and open the floor for y'all for a designated time, maybe 5 minutes or so before we get on off of here. So let's see. But yeah, Malik, it is quite unfortunate, but for anybody who is willing to, you know, take into consideration the things that we're saying, then you
Yeah,
should
if you
thank
guys,
God.
if you guys have any questions, I saw a few people just joined in. If you guys have any questions, drop them in here and we'll answer them. Because we're always open to questions or even open to learning. We wanna learn just like everybody else. So yeah, I have yet to
Yeah.
find anyone who can disprove the resurrection. So if you have any questions about that or any input about that, try to disprove it or try to say whatever you got to say, or if you have more evidence on why the resurrection is true, put that in there too. Anything you guys want to ask.
Let me add that.
And I think that that's actually very like when I'm re-looking at Genesis. That is actually it blows me every time, even though I read this so many times, that God is saying, "Let us make mankind in our image and in our likeness." And everyone who reads this tries to say that that's not what God means. So you're telling me you
They
know
say
what God means.
they always say it's not what God means.
You're that's literally what you call perverting the scriptures when you can clearly see right here. It says, then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. And you will still find people who says, that's not what it says, that's not what it means. So you're telling me you know what God says, but God don't know what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's the craziest, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It
It's just
happened.
like just, side note, it's just like that dude I debated earlier who says Jesus is not his real name. His real name is Joshua. So anyone calling him Jesus y'all are not saying the right thing, y'all blaspheming X, Y, and Z. You do realize that God is God for a reason, right? So
Mhm.
if God knows English, he knows Hebrew, he knows German, he knows Aramaic, he knows all languages. So there's not a language barrier for God. There's language barriers for humans, but there's not a language barrier for God. God
Well,
knows the
we need to
story.
be superior.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We need to be superior. We need to feel like we're favored over other people. It's the comparison thing. We have to
Hmm.
constantly compare ourselves to others to be able to gauge our, ability to get into heaven, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
Very sad. I keep saying stuff is very sad, but I mean it. It's sad. All right, that's the 5 minutes right there. No questions tonight, but we'll do a better job of continuing to keep the chat open for questions at the designated time. But until next time, we got a new outro, y'all. Are you excited? Malika made us a new outro. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. No, actually, we will see you guys on Thursday.
Thursday.
We have a new topic for you guys. It will be interesting. We will leave the chat open for questions. We want to discuss. We want your input. And we'll see you guys then. Appreciate y'all.